My name is Jennifer Benzo, and I was given the opportunity to attend a sensory screening training presented by Dr. Sandra Davenport of Minnesota, who specializes in sensory genetics and neurodevelopment. The training focused specifically on Usher Syndrome, and Aaron Fightmaster and I will be discussing the distinguishing characteristics, incidence and prevalence, etiology and diagnosis, implications for families, and resources for families. Some of the distinguishing characteristics are hearing loss plus retinitis pigmentosa, which both are caused by an Usher gene. There's also vestibular problems that may be present. Retinitis pigmentosa is a gradual loss of vision over decades due to deteriorating cells in the retina of the eye. Night vision problems develop first due to rod cell damage. Next, blind spots in the side vision develop, which is caused by cone cell damage. Central vision loss occurs much later. There's also night blindness, which makes dark adaptation time prolonged, problems adjusting to changes in daylight, and gradual visual field loss due to the cone damage. There's also daylight glare. Squints or shades. Children generally squint or shade their eyes in bright or fluorescent lighting, and they definitely need contrast. It's difficult to read on light copies or dittos. They prefer writing with felt tip pens on white paper, and they can't see stars at night. There's also visual field decrease and visual acuity loss. There are three types of, you forgot. There are three clinical types of Usher syndrome. Type 1 has children who are born deaf. They have night blindness early, and blind spots develop by teens or their 20s. Vestibular function is absent at birth, but they are late walking. Type 2 Usher syndrome is characterized by children born hard of hearing. Night blindness occurs by the teens, and there's blind spots by the 20s. They have normal or mild vestibular problems. And finally, type 3, onset of hearing loss is 10 to 40 years, and rapid progression of hearing loss occurs. More rapid vision loss than type 2, and progressive loss of vestibular function occurs. The incidence and prevalence of Usher syndrome occurs when each parent contributes only one Usher gene to the child, who then has a double dose of Usher. From cureresearch.com, I found that prevalence is 16,000 Americans, and the rate of prevalence is approximately 1 in every 17,000.
Etiology and diagnosis. Usher syndrome is inherited as an autosomal recessive condition. The diagnosis can be at birth using DNA testing. By the age of 4, an experienced ophthalmologist, even though eye exams appear normal. Who should be screened? Deaf or hard of hearing students without a confirmed etiology. Any deaf child with poor balance and non-confirmed etiology. Also, any deaf, hard of hearing student with symptoms. Implication for families. One is night blindness. The children are going to need night lights. They cannot see in dim restaurants or hallways, and it's hard to adapt to changes in lighting. Good lighting is very important. Another is daylight glare. They like to wear sunglasses and visors even when inside buildings. They avoid participating in outdoor sports and prefer outings on cloudy days. They also are going to need contrast. They often spill when pouring liquids into transparent containers. Because genes are quite large and individual families have different parts of the genes missing or rearranged, virtually all individuals with Usher become depressed. They're going to need counseling, and their families do as well, particularly at the time of the diagnosis. For some of the treatments, vitamin A therapy is possibly helpful. Retinal chips have shown some promise but depend on intact nerves. Gene therapy is showing promise in animals with human trials underway. Stem cell therapy is also underway. More people with Usher are opting for cochlear implants even at later ages. Some of the resources for families, one is going to be screening procedures, which are questionnaires, visual acuity, visual field screening, and balance screening. Next is going to be visual acuity, which is going to involve an LEA symbols distance chart. You're going to use this at 10 feet away, and the symbols in the chart are going to be a square, a house, a bell, and an apple. You can also use a handheld disc perimeter.
These are changes in the eyes due to retinitis pigmentosa. This is a progression over time. This is a normal view of boat and dock, and this represents blind spots over time. The blind spots develop in peripheral vision due to cone cell damage. And then advanced cone cell loss, blind spots merge to form a ring, and then eventually there's tunnel vision.